Hey everybody, welcome back. So it's been about a year since we did the move from Florida. And things are going all right. I think last time I was here staying in this place talking about it, we had the Mercedes S550 back here. That's going as well. So we got the 2013 Camry now. Just for giggles. Fun little commuter car we're playing with. New to Toyota, so figuring that out too. But check out this living room kitchen here. So we have all our appliances in now. We just got the new hood in. Fixtures, our nice new granite countertops. One of my favorite things about this house is our fireplace with the stone on it. And of course, our new dining room table with the built-in wine rack. Some drawers in it. Big fan of this. Just got delivered today. So basically the house is done. We are just waiting for final cleaning and certificate of occupancy. So the bathroom is pretty much done now. We just have to do final cleanup. But you can get a pretty good idea of what's going on here. We have the dual closets, dual vanities, and of course our shower here. The master bedroom. Of course with our accent wall. And of course in some rooms we do have some final touch-ups that need to be done. But as you can see, matching granite throughout the house. You know, keeping everything nice, matching. Also, weirdly enough, I'm a huge fan of this fan up here. It reminds me of like an old Duesenberg wheel. I don't know why, I just like that about that fan. But seriously, this kitchen turned out great. Pretty stoked. So with this house, one thing we want to do is have space, but do away with a lot of the unnecessary space that we had in our house in Florida, which we kind of did for the most part. We took our formal rooms, we turned our formal living into an office, and our formal dining that we're in now into a pantry. So we have a giant walk-in pantry now because that's kind of essential for us. It just comes in handy. And of course, the backyard, fenced area for the dogs. We got the lake back there. So in other news, we finally hit 3,000 miles on our Hellcat Red Eye here. So we're getting ready to do oil change on it, that final break-in. All right, so doing the oil change here on our Challenger. You can see we have no oil on the floor, even though this floor is kind of scuffed up, but there's no oil down there. As you can see, we pulled our 13mm oil drain plug. Our oil filter is right up through there. So if you position one of these larger pans right in the middle, it'll catch both. And then over here on our oil cooler, this is a 15mm bolt. Usually I just put a little paint mixing cup underneath it to catch this. As you'll see, the oil in this cooler is always darker, dirtier than what is coming out of our engine here. That is why I always drain the oil cooler, just because you never know what's going to be in there. And that oil needs to be cycled as well, so you aren't keeping that steady, stagnant oil in there. Honestly, this is probably one of the easiest things to change oil on that I've ever worked on. It's pretty simple, straightforward, what I just showed you. The hardest part is taking our plastic little shields off the bottom there. But other than that, pretty simple, straightforward. And in case you haven't seen the C3 in a minute, we will be restoring this here soon at some point. We just had to get a little more space. As you can see, everything is just kind of thrown about while we're moving into the new house. But we will be restoring this here shortly. All right, so because I'm kind of a nerd about this stuff, I usually put in 7.5 quarts, even though 7 is technically recommended, because also I drain the oil cooler as well, and there's usually about a 1/2 quart in the oil cooler. So with that being said, I always like to measure the oil that comes out, drain it back into the quarts, or the gallon. That way I can measure it and see how much oil is coming out, if it's burning oil or not. And this goes with pretty much any car I own. But as you can see, we have 7 quarts full. 2 of these are slightly overfilled, just barely, to help compensate for that half quart extra, as well as, you know, what spills. Granted, I never really have much spillage when I'm draining the oil, but, you know, just residues. So we are back to 7 quarts basically. And this thing is not burning oil, which is actually kind of surprising, because pretty much everybody will tell you that these cars burn oil brand new off the lot, as well as pretty much anything else. Chevys, Dodges, Fords, they all burn oil. In fact, Chevy has a specification saying, basically, if you burn a quart of oil within 2,000 miles, you're doing good. That is within specification. Kind of crazy to think about there. So we have 3,000 miles on this car, about 1,500 per oil change for the break-in periods, but we aren't burning any oil. So I guess we're doing pretty good. In other news, next video, MDS delete on our, I think it's 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee Hemi. So we're going to be starting on this, doing MDS delete. Cylinder 3 is dead on it. Probably going to be doing a few other things to it, but that's pretty much where we're going to start. But overall, we've been here for about a year in the new house, started the new job. We just got the other house built. I'm working full-time at a Chevy dealership, basically, if you don't know that already. As you can see, the shop is still a mess. We are currently working on that to clean that out. That way I can get back to working on cars, like doing MDS delete. So overall, it's been a pretty good move. Things are quite a bit cheaper up here. It's pretty much all around better, really, to be honest. Less crime. We aren't dealing with all the Florida traffic and everything related to it. Pretty much everywhere where we were in Florida, all the roads were torn up. There's road construction everywhere. It was not fun. I guess one way to look at it, we can either drive 30 minutes to go 2 miles away to, you know, Walmart, Publix, or we can drive 30 minutes and actually have like a scenic drive and be away from everybody. I'd rather have the drive and be away from everybody. It's a lot more quiet. But also, you know, there is perks working at the Chevy dealership. I can get parts for my car for discounts. We still got the Suburban, pretty much every car I've bought lately. We got rid of a lot of cars this past year or so, and I've kind of started to get a few new ones. I think I'm going to get rid of the Camry as well, because I got my eye on a couple other things. And 2, I want to start driving the Chrysler 300 more. So that's pretty much my next big project. Once we get this one here back running again. I take that back, it runs, just not that well. But I mean, way out here, we're pretty much in the middle of nothing. And it's great. So I stopped working on cars for a little while. I've been working full time at a GM dealership, Chevy Cadillac. But we do have, you know, a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram franchise, and a few others, but we'll see. But now things are finally getting really settled in to where I can actually take the time away to get back to working on my own cars more, making videos again. I know it's been a little while, but we'll be getting back to it. Starting with the Jeep over here. And I think we got an Excursion coming up next. So we're going to be doing some things to a V10 Ford Excursion, just to change it up a little bit. We haven't had a whole lot of Fords on the channel, so we figured that'd be a fun little new project to get into. But overall, living up here in South Alabama, Georgia, it's very similar for the most part to, you know, where we were in Florida. if it was, 20 years ago in Florida. So that's pretty nice. The rent's cheaper, the power's cheaper. Your insurance on cars is way cheaper. Insurance is about a third of the cost for me, so that's pretty good. We still have the Hellcat Red Eye. It's over at the other house. If you haven't seen the engine bay in one of these Jeeps, you can pretty much get to everything very, very, very easily. Tons of space around it. Like, I can stick my whole hand sideways back here. And if I completely spread my hand, then I'm touching the engine and the wall back here for the firewall. Tons of space. The only thing that'll be a pain in the butt is we're gonna have to remove this front end to get the cam out of the motor if we keep the engine in the Jeep here. And yes, we do have a K&N filter, but we'll get into all this next video. So if you want to see what's coming next, stay tuned. We'll be doing this shortly.